If you have ever dreamed of working from a beach or cute cafes around the world, I want you to know that being a digital nomad is possible. The real question is what it actually means to be one. In today's video, I'm gonna share with you the 7 things I wish I knew before I became a digital nomad. Trust me, it's not just about nice aesthetic pictures and good Wi-Fi. Hi, my name is Sonia. I am a digital nomad and marketer from Italy. I've been traveling pretty much my life with one goal in mind, becoming a digital nomad and traveling the world while working online. Now I'm so glad that I achieved that, and I want to share with you the reality of becoming a digital nomad, long-term traveling, as well as productivity tips. Whether you are a digital nomad already or you want to be one, this is the channel for you. To give you a little bit of context, I started working online in 2018 doing mostly random jobs, easy graphic design stuff, blogging, social media management for other people. In 2020, I finally started my own web design business called Wildly Creating, and I was able to grow that into a creative agency. I had teams, I had clients all over the world. I moved then into personal branding and consulting, but now I step back from running my business full time and I do digital marketing for 2 online companies. I have no degree, and everything that I've learned was through my own personal development, taking courses, podcasts, books. Okay, let's get into it. The first thing I wish I knew is that being a digital nomad is an umbrella term. There are no hard and fast rules. You can be a freelancer, work remotely for a company, start your online business. All of these are good ways to be a digital nomad. My mistake was thinking that becoming a digital nomad meant starting your own business, and that put a lot of pressure on my finances, on my relationship, on everything that I was going through. There were so many different departments that I needed to create and manage from scratch, and I had no experience. It was not just about the one skill that I was selling, but all of the other major skills that I needed to bring into my business, such as copywriting, sales psychology, graphic design, photography, videography. In itself, all of these skills are massive skills to master, and it was really hard for me to learn everything in order to run my own business. Going back, I would have focused on mastering one skill first and finding consistent clients through freelancing platforms such as Fiverr or Upwork. This way, I would have been able to create a killer portfolio, build up my confidence, and have consistent clients so that I could ease off from my stable job. The second thing I wish I knew before becoming a digital nomad is that starting a business is not free. There are countless YouTube videos all about starting a new business for free. That is simply not true. Yes, there are a lot of free platforms. You can use free trials for pretty much every software, but there will always be something that you have to purchase, even if it's just a domain name. The mistake I did was thinking that I just needed to find clients to bring into my business and that I would have paid for my things as I was going. Going back, I would have stayed in my job for a lot longer, and I would have taken the time to build up my saving. I would have focused on building a saving for my business expenses, personal expenses, general life expenses. I would have really focused on having at least 6 months of living expenses paid so that I didn't have to stress too much about finding clients. Money has always been a big source of stress for me, and running my own business made that even worse, especially as my business was growing and I was hiring a team and I had bigger clients. Whenever I would get money from a client, all of the money were gone within a few days because I had to pay my team, pay for the business platform or softwares, and then I had my own living expenses. I had no structure whatsoever, and that was incredibly hard for me to deal with. Another thing I would have focused on was start thinking very early about how I could diversify my stream of income. I was really focusing on just having that one stable thing that was gonna help me, but I put all of my eggs in one basket, and that put even more pressure on making money from my business right away. The third thing I wish I knew about becoming a digital nomad was all about time management and self-discipline. Now, the good thing is that you are in some form your own boss, and in some capacity you get to structure your life pretty much however you want. This is good news. Bad news is that now you have to plan all of these things by yourself, and you need to stick to whatever routine. When I started my online business, I was traveling in Australia, I was living in a van. I was so wrapped up with the idea that I could work from anywhere at any time that I ended up working everywhere and all the time. I had absolutely no boundary, no routine, no system in place, and that was a massive mistake. Looking back, I would sit down and develop a plan for myself. I would 100% include a morning routine and an evening routine, something to ground myself that doesn't make me wake up and start thinking about work right away. And I would also focus on having days off, where is 100% day off, not even opening my computer. I would also implement some productivity techniques such as Pomodoro technique or time blocking. I have those now and life is a lot easier. Number 4, internet must be reliable. This might sound like a given, but when your work relies on internet, Wi-Fi, it's like oxygen. Going back to my van life days in Australia, finding reliable internet was one of the hardest things to do, which was kind of weird. If I was just traveling, this would have been a great time to just forget about my phone. But it becomes stressful when you know you have a deadline or you have to talk with a client or you really have to get some work done and there is no Wi-Fi. I also learned the hard way that just because a cafe has free Wi-Fi, that does not mean it's reliable Wi-Fi. Sometimes that is just Wi-Fi for check your phone or just to be on social media, but it's not enough to hold a conversation or to be on a call. Plus, sometimes there's music or other people talking. I ended up buying a pocket Wi-Fi and that was good for days where I didn't need to have calls or when I just needed to get some work done. But I always had to rely on local SIM card to get really good Wi-Fi for focus day or call days. The 5th thing I wish I knew about becoming a digital nomad is all about traveling burnout. Now, stay with me. This is a real thing. Traveling too much can make you feel exhausted, especially if you try to squeeze in so many activities or visiting too many cities in a short amount of time. This is why when you go on a holiday and you spend weeks traveling and every day visiting something new, you feel a little bit tired when you come back home and you feel like you need a holiday after your holiday. This is when self-discipline and time management comes into play again. You need to understand your energy levels and plan your life and travels accordingly. My mistake was thinking that because I could work from anywhere, the priority was traveling. Of course, it's nice to think this way, but I also have to work. Now I have a better understanding of my body and I know that, for example, after a full day of traveling or if I'm moving from one Airbnb to the other, I will feel tired the next day. So I try to plan these activities when I know I can have a relaxing day. And that doesn't mean that the next day is always off. It could mean that if I have a long task, I can do that from the couch. This takes me to point number 6, choosing the right accommodation. Before becoming a digital nomad, I would simply pick my accommodation based on budget. I wanted a place to crash after a day out of exploring. But after I became a digital nomad, and especially when I was running my business, picking the right accommodation would completely change my productivity levels. Accommodation can really make working a pleasure or a nightmare. I learned the hard way that running calls or trying to be productive while being in a hostel is virtually impossible. There's always somebody around you. You are surrounded by people that sometimes you don't even know. And I felt like there's always this party atmosphere. People are on holiday, they're traveling, they're having a drink or two. They don't really care about being productive and getting work done. Now that I am a digital nomad, I really take my time to pick the right accommodation. I have also learned that if you're traveling with a friend or with a partner and you both work online, your work days and your rest days might not necessarily overlap. I found myself in situations when I needed to get work done and I was feeling very productive, but my partner didn't have work for the day and just wanted to turn on the TV and relax. Or maybe I wanted to go out and explore, but my partner needed to work. In that case, the best thing to do is to have an accommodation that has some kind of separation, whether that's a living room and a different room with a door and a table on the other side. Better yet, if the condo has a co-working space nearby or a cafe or something that you can go there and work from. I also research the neighborhood beforehand and make sure that there are no parties or clubbing nearby, that is in a quiet neighborhood with cafe, restaurant, maybe supermarket nearby. And I now have a full list of questions I always ask myself before moving to a new place. The more time I spend looking at accommodation, the better the accommodation will be. The final point I wanted to talk about today is the importance of community. This is something that took me the longest to understand and embrace within my own life, but community is really what can make make or break your life as a digital nomad. Going back to my van life days, I was on the road all the time and I was really happy. I love my life, but I really miss having friends, especially the consistency of friends, people that you could talk to, that they knew your story, they were there for you. The beautiful thing of being a digital nomad is that you meet a lot of people every single day. This is beautiful, but the flip side of it is that everybody's traveling. It's hard to have consistency of good friends that understand where you're coming from. To make things even harder, I found that sometimes it was hard for me to connect with travelers that were not a digital nomad, that were not interested in running their own business, simply because our needs were different. This was very challenging for my mental health, and ironically, I almost didn't want to go out and meet any new people because I knew I would have not met this person again. Now I have regular catch up with my friends. They're both digital nomad or entrepreneurs or people that I met along the way that there was a connection I didn't want to lose. We usually do twice a month via Zoom or WhatsApp, and that simple change in my life improved my mental health drastically. I also make it a point to find communities both online and offline of expat, digital nomad, entrepreneurs and other people that are traveling. This is when picking the right city or the right country comes into play. You want to find places where you know you can find your community, people that relate to you. Nothing beats that feeling of meeting somebody that gets you. In my experience, I found that whenever I move to a big city, it's easier to find people like me, and I can recharge my social batteries this way, so that whenever I move to a more remote place, I'm fine. I actually enjoy some alone times and I'm not struggling as much. This will of course depend on the type of person that you are. I'm a very introverted person, so I do enjoy my alone time. If you're an extrovert, maybe you do enjoy meeting new people all the time. At the end of the day, being a digital nomad is all about balance, flexibility, adjusting, and finding what works for you. I don't regret any of the mistakes that I made because they brought me to where I am right now. However, a video like this would have made me reconsider some of my choices. Remember, there is no right or wrong way to be a digital nomad, and you get to decide however you want to set up your life, whether that's remote working or not. I truly believe being a digital nomad is a really good place to start. That being said, it's not everybody's cup of tea, and there are challenges just like in every different lifestyle. If you want to be a digital nomad, or if you already are a digital nomad, I would love to know which point resonated with you the most, and if there's anything else you would add to this list. And if you like this video, please show it some love. This is my very first YouTube video. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.